Welcome everyone to this regular City Council meeting of Grand Haven City Council for Monday, May 5th, 2025. Marie, would you call the roll?
Fritz,
Here.
Lowe,
Here.
McLaughlin,
Here.
Manetza.
Here. Our invocation this evening is by Reverend Dr. Jerry Kramer of St. John's Episcopal Church. Please rise and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
The Lord be with you. Let us pray. O Lord, our governor, bless the leaders of our land, that we may be a people at peace among ourselves and a blessing to the nations of this earth. To the President and members of the Cabinet, to governors of states, mayors of cities, and to all in administrative authority, grant wisdom and grace in the exercise of their duties. To senators and representatives and those who make our laws in states, cities, and towns, give courage, wisdom, and foresight to provide for the needs of all our people and to fulfill our obligations in our community. To judges and officers of our courts, give understanding and integrity, that human rights may be safeguarded and justice served. Teach our people, O Lord, to rely on your strength and to accept their responsibilities to their fellow citizens, that they may elect trustworthy leaders and make wise decisions for the well-being of our society, that we may serve you faithfully in our generation and honor your holy name. Almighty God, our Heavenly Father, we pray this evening that you will send down upon those who hold office in this city of Grand Haven the spirit of wisdom, charity, and justice, that with steadfast purpose they may faithfully serve in their offices to promote the well-being of all people. Through Jesus Christ, my Lord. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, we have no appointments or reappointments this evening. It brings us to the approval of the consent and regular. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Oh, go ahead.
Motion by Fritz, second by McLaughlin. Questions, changes, anything on the agendas?
No. Good.
If not, would you please call the roll?
Fritz,
Yes.
McLaughlin,
Yes.
Lowe,
Yes.
Manetza.
Yes. Brings us to our first call to the audience this evening. This is the first of two opportunities. Members of the audience may address council on any item, whether on the agenda or not. Those addressing council are asked to provide their name and address, will be limited to 3 minutes of speaking time. Council for all comments for future consideration will not have a response at this time. Those not physically present who would like to call may dial 616-935-3203. I would remind the audience as well that there is a public hearing this evening on the budget. And if you want to address council on that, you can wait for the public hearing or you can speak now. Who would like to address council?
I'm Jason Rogers, Grand Haven Jeep Fest. Just wanted to start off by saying thank you to Councilman Lowe, Councilman McLaughlin, Mayor Manetza. You guys have continuously supported this event and what we're trying to do to not only support the city, but more importantly, and Mayor Manetza, you spoke at length about it last week, is help an organization that helps children who are going through something they never should experience. And while we like to get together and have fun and have people come to the city, that's really the end-all be-all of it, is we're trying to help the Children's Advocacy Center. And one of their representatives is here tonight who wants to speak after me, but our intent is never to take away from any part of this city or anyone who works here. I'm a building contractor. I've had to work many times in the city and be inconvenienced. I've worked on the many different buildings downtown, and I had to lug table saws and chop saws 3 blocks and things like that. And it's not fun, not at all. But it's the kind of cost of doing business if you do what I do. So we don't want to inconvenience anybody in any way. And I know Dana and Brian and Ashley have worked diligently to put a plan together that hopefully helps everyone involved. Again, with the end goal being always to raise as much money as we possibly can to help these children, and putting our obstacle course together really is what put it over the top last year. Speaking to Shondi this past week, she said Jeep Fest is the only event in the city that has grown in the last year and the only one that's grown 2 years in a row. So we see positive impact from it. I hope everyone else does too. Most importantly, we see the impact that it makes for these unfortunate children and their families. So I want to thank you for speaking up on that and appreciate it. And we'll stick around to answer any questions later. But I'll give my attention now to Mitch from the Advocacy Center.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Mitch. I serve as the, is that a normal volume? Okay.
Yeah,
I
just
serve
first,
as-
first and last name and address.
Okay, Mitch Newbert. I live at 384 Wakasu Drive, Holland, Michigan. I serve as the Advancement Director for the Ed and Nancy Hindenburg Children's Advocacy Center of Ottawa. I want to say thank you for having me here, and thank you for all the work you all do. Thank you to the Rogers family as well in Jeep Fest for including the Children's Advocacy Center as their beneficiary the last few years. I just wanted to take I think this will take a minute to share a little bit about the Children's Advocacy Center. We try to take as much promotional opportunities we can because it's a pretty heavy mission. 1 in 10 children will be sexually abused by their 18th birthday. 90% of those cases will be by someone they know, whether that's a coach or a parent, et cetera. The Children's Advocacy Center exists because of that reality. We like to look at it as we are an intersection between healing and justice. So we have a full circle of services. We address this in 2 ways. One is prevention, and the other is intervention. So we last year served 19,000 elementary students with body safety training in 97% of Ottawa County elementary schools. I think there were just 3 elementary schools that did not participate. That can often lead to a disclosure when kids find out that they are experiencing something in their home that is not acceptable and not normal. And then intervention. When abuse is reported for the 1 in 10, we build a team of professionals around the child, including law enforcement. And I wanted to say thank you to our law enforcement back here. They, as we all know, they experience things that a lot of people don't see. And so I want to say thank you to them. Child Protective Service workers, doctors, therapists, ministry leaders, thank you, Pastor Kramer, advocates, and prosecuting attorneys to form that team. So we want to interrupt it right then, and then we hope the healing journey can begin, while at the same time we're building a case, a prosecutorial case. So we're with them every step of the way. Almost half of our operating budget comes from private donations. Most of what we're able to do in the schools, actually all of what we're able to do in the schools, is by the grace of individual donors and events like Jeep Fest. So we really, really appreciate it. Thank you for your consideration on this, and thank you to Jeep Fest as well. So thanks for your time.
Thank you. Who else would like to address council?
I will really quickly. Jasmine Rogers, Grand Haven Jeep Fest. We're at 104th now in Zealand. We just moved and I'm drawing a blank as to our new address, but I just sorry, I'm a little nervous. Just honestly wanted to thank you all so much for everything. You've been supportive of Jeep Fest since day one. Last week we were a little frazzled, a little stressed after the meeting, just what are we gonna do next? But Dana and Brian and Ashley have gone above and beyond with, well, they had to listen to us for a long time afterwards and then work really, really, really hard the next day to come up with a plan B. So we're really hoping that the magic that they've worked really shines in the meeting tonight. And with everything that was just said about the wonderful organization that the Advocacy Center is, it should, you know, it really benefits so many in the community. And as I was going to different storefronts downtown last week to just kind of touch base with all the business owners, I chatted with a store owner who really hasn't participated much in the years past. And anyway, she was free to chat. So we chatted for a few minutes, and I shared with her who the beneficiary was, and she almost broke down and said, "That's in Ottawa County, right?" I said, "Yep." And she was like, "My daughter had to have their services for a time." And we hugged, we talked. She ended up bundling together a beautiful donation for our online auction, which we're going to do again this year. So it's something that touches so many people's lives, way more than we even realize. And we're just so grateful that we can have a part in giving back to the community and providing a really fun and family-friendly event. So from the bottoms of our hearts, as well as everybody that we work with, we just want to thank all of you for all of your consideration.
Thank you. Who else would like to address council? If no one else is coming forward, there will be a budget public hearing and another opportunity to address council at the end of the meeting. All right, then in that case, let's close the call to the audience. We'll move on to the consent agenda. Marie, would you read that?
Item A, approve the bills memo in the amount of $516,950.47.
Could I get a motion?
So moved. Second.
Motion by Fritz, second by McLaughlin. Any questions on the bills memo? If not, would you please call the roll?
Fritz,
Yes.
McLaughlin,
Yes.
Lowe,
Yes.
Manetza.
Yes. Brings us to our public hearing. Marie, would you please read this?
This is a public hearing regarding the proposed budget, millage rates, 1% tax administration fee schedule, and capital plan for the City of Grand Haven fiscal year beginning July 1, 2025, and ending June 30, 2026.
All right, so we are in a public hearing here. Emily, would you like to give us a brief recap and an update on anything that may have changed since our work session?
Yes, I would. Emily Green, Finance Director. So between the work session on April 15th and the document that was presented in the agenda, there were a couple changes that were made. One being the millage rates. The county provided us draft levies on April 30th. I expect to have the final levy numbers by the end of this week. I do not expect them to change. I expect that the numbers that are in the document are accurate, but I just want to put that out there that they were not the final numbers that we received on April 30. They're a little later this year than in the past. Also, the DDA TIF revenue forecast was updated with numbers, increased the taxable values, the tax revenue projections, are going to be higher, and so we are actually expecting to start reimbursing the general fund in 2027 instead of 20. So you'll notice that that graph looks a little different. The purple's a little closer to the 2027 year than the 2028. The fee schedule, under the building inspection permits and fees part of that, we added a tier to the ICC valuation document for construction value of $1 to $500, and that fee's $50. And then from 501 to 1,000 is the $1,000. So that was changed. The next change that we had, of note, their general fund interest revenue, it was adjusted. And from that revenue adjusted, we are going to be able to purchase next year in 25-26 new playground equipment for Stuka Field. And then the remainder of that allowed for an increase in the MERS surplus contribution. So instead of $120,000 being contributed in fiscal year 25-26, we're going to increase that to $168,000. So from $10,000 a month to $14,000 a month. That's for the MERS surplus division contribution. The local community stabilization authority revenue is estimated at this time. We do not receive those funds. So I'm hoping that the final budget document has that number, and if it doesn't, when I bring the budget amendments in June, that will be included in that. And there were minor changes to general fund expenditures. They were net zero changes. What, if I had to take something from one department or in a department, I was able to offset that on other account lines.
That's it? That's all?
Those are the main ones, yes.
Okay. All right, well, we are in a public hearing, so stand by and we'll probably get back to you with questions.
Very good.
Okay, so we are in a public hearing here for any member of the public who would like to address council on any item with regard to millage, budget, any of those questions. Or if someone wants to call in with a question, I've given, it's the same phone number that I gave earlier, which is 616-935-3203. And if no one comes forward quickly, we'll close the public hearing. All right, we're going to close the public hearing. And that allows us to go back to questions for Emily. Anyone have questions, comments? It's been a long process, and we've been in this in great detail already.
No questions?
Anything, Karen? Okay. So the only question I had, and I talked to Ashley a little earlier, you talked about general fund expenditure changes being net zero. Some expenses in your memo were reduced, or some expenditures were reduced. Is this largely because of more accurate numbers we have now, or is it because we're shifting things from one fund to another?
No, they're more accurate number. As we get, week after week after week closer to the end of the fiscal year, we have kind of those one-off expenses that come in, and we project what those are. We actually get the numbers, so I'm updating those as close to the time as I can for this. And I'll do like I said, I'll do the same thing. What the document that you have now is what will be at the May 19th hearing, our meeting. But then the final 24-25 budget amendments will come forward in June.
Okay, and due to the nature of how we budget, we're always subject to corrections, and we make those corrections promptly and accurately, so we know we're covered.
Correct, yes.
Okay. Very good. Any other comments or questions?
No.
Well, there's no action tonight on the budget. That'll come next week as per our charter. The last meeting of May, we adopt our budget for the next fiscal year. But for tonight, it was opportunity for the public to weigh in and for us to get a final update. So we'll move on now. Thank you. All right, brings us to new business. Maria?
Item A, consideration by City Council of a resolution to place delinquent invoices in the amount of $13,195.48 for CLT ground lease invoices in the amount of $550.80, annual snow melt maintenance in the amount of $6,165.82, delinquent water sewer bills in the amount of $189.45, and delinquent BLP electric bills in the amount of $6,289.41 on the 2025 property tax bills, including an 8% penalty as single lot special assessment rule 599 in accordance with section 3113 of the city's code of ordinances. Administration recommends approval.
All right, can I get a motion?
So moved?
Support.
Motion by McLaughlin, second
No.
by, I'm sorry, I just heard that here.
That's okay. Just
Okay.
wanted, I
Motion
want
by-
to make sure it's all right, you know?
Motion by Fritz, second by Lowe. Okay, questions on this, or did you or Emily have more to say about it? It's pretty self-explanatory,
Yeah.
Yeah, just an annual procedural
right?
effort.
Questions or comments? Anyone? Please call the roll.
Fritz?
Yes.
Lowe?
Yes.
McLaughlin?
Yes.
Manetza?
Yes. Okay, so next item, please.
Item B, consideration by City Council of a resolution to approve amendments to Section 4.2 of the Grand Haven Memorial Airport's minimum standards for commercial aeronautical activities relating to private hangar construction minimums. The Airport Board recommends approval and Administration recommends approval.
Can I get a motion?
So move.
Second.
This time it was McLaughlin?
Yeah,
Okay,
you got it.
is that side? Second by Lowe. Okay, is Ashley or Dana, or should I go straight to Ben?
Well, I will just say, this is Dana Culware, Assistant City Manager. I'm really going to defer to Ben as the expert. I was just going to quickly say that there are about 6 or 7 different bullet points of changes that are being requested by the airport board related to the private hangars. Ben is here as chair of the airport board. If you guys have questions or would like to know a little bit more about what is being proposed.
Ben, would you like to give us a brief recap of where we're at? And why?
Ben Henniga, 14315 Briarfield Lane, Grand Haven, Airport Board member, and currently serve as the chair. What we're doing is allowing the opportunity for individuals to build their own hangar at the airport on leased land on the property. And we've just set up minimums of what the board would like to see as far as the size of a hangar and the minimum requirements for a hangar. And basically, this would be, my understanding, a 10, 10, and 10, or 30-year lease. At the end of that, then the airport, the hangar becomes a property of the airport or the city of Grand Haven. So I don't know if you can put them up on the screen, the exact bullet points we're adding to or not.
I don't have them ready.
Okay. You can state what it is if you like. We're adding to section 4.2, private hangar construction minimums shall consist of a 3,600 square foot building, interior door opening not less than 58 feet wide by 16 foot high. Interior ceiling height not less than 16 foot. Bifold or hydraulic lift door, separate access door, single phase electric metered separately, sufficient interior lighting and electrical outlets, interior concrete floor throughout, exterior 60 foot by 60 foot paved concrete or asphalt apron. And what this is primarily to help give us larger hangar space for potentially larger aircraft like a King Air or something along those lines that has more like a 50-foot wingspan and that sort of thing. The hangars we have at the airport right now are only 41 to 42 foot wide, so. But we've had requests from individuals interested in leasing property at the airport to build their own hangars. They're just virtually about every airport around here, West Michigan-wise, and probably all over the country, actually lease property on the airport property for individuals to build their own hangars. So we're just establishing what the board would like to see as a minimum size. We don't want to lease out land for somebody who just wants to build a small box hangar for let's say a single airplane, because that's competing against the hangars we already got. So it has to be at least 3,600 square feet or 60 by 60.
Okay, well, thank you for the insight into your thinking there, because I think that's important for publicly state.
Right.
Not everybody goes to the airport board meetings, although I attend some.
Yeah, I know.
But-
I
but
appreciate it.
I appreciate that you gave this a lot of thought. Go ahead, Ken.
Is this pretty much industry standard?
It is pretty, if you want to say industry standard, yes. You could go to Holland, Zeeland, any airport basically in West Michigan or even across the state. And they typically lease land like Sparta does, West Michigan Regional down in Holland, Jenison, Ludington,
Okay.
Oceana County. They all have leased land on airport property for an individual to build their hangars.
But the size of the hangar, that's pretty much industry standard?
I can't say that's pretty much industry standard. That's just what we'd like to see at our airport. We don't want multiples of small hangars there. We
Okay.
want hangars we have, on the airport, we have individuals that actually own multiple airplanes, and they would like to put them all in one hangar. Right now, they're leasing up to 3 separate hangars at the airport.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah, Ben, when was the last time we had those hangars built?
Oh, geez. The last hangar was built probably, I'm going to say close to 30 years ago. And that would be the closest one as you enter into the entryway into the airport on the east side. That's hangar FEG, or EFG. No. Yeah,
Yeah, what I'm getting at is that 30 years, even if it was 30 years, and we're going to a 30-year lease, they're going to build them, they're going to be ours after 30 years.
after 30 years.
That's what I'm
correct.
saying, because
Yeah.
these, if you look at them, they're the newest ones we have out there. Everybody looks, oh, those are the new ones. Like, they're not,
No, no.
so.
The
what I wanna
newest
say
row of
is-
hangars, I'd say, is the ones just east of the entryway.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. This is,
Yeah.
it's a win-win situation for us in the long run, so.
I think
I
so.
wanna say
Just
thank you
You're
to your
getting
board.
ground leased for leasing that ground
Yep.
property. And then, of course, it's up to the individual to take care of everything, meeting all the requirements of the city and the state and everything else as far as
They take care of the maintenance and all that
they
stuff
have to take
for us,
care of the
and we don't-
maintenance.
we
That's
don't have
why
to-
it's going to be more than like a 10-10-10, so we can
Yep,
intervene and say, clean it up or whatever, you know?
very good.
Anything
for
else?
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Any other questions? No. Are we ready to vote? Please call the roll.
McLaughlin,
Yes.
Lowe,
Yes.
Fritz,
Yes.
Manetza.
Yes. Next item, please.
Item C, consideration by City Council of a resolution to approve ballot language to be placed on the November 4, 2025 ballot for a new millage to be levied by the City of Grand Haven, Ottawa County, Michigan, on all property assessed for taxes at the amount of 2.0 mils, $2 per $1,000 of taxable value for a period of 10 years, 2026 through 2035 inclusive, for the purpose of funding police and fire services in the city's Department of Public Safety. Administration recommends approval.
All right, can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Lowe, second by McLaughlin. So we got a good presentation on this at a recent meeting, and I know recent work session. Ashley, did you have anything else to contribute, or?
No, not necessarily. I won't revisit all the detail that we previously discussed, but just for the benefit of those listening today, kind of to summarize it at its core, our department's, operating facility and equipment needs in the context of our staffing challenges, increasing demands, and the evolving call complexity, has really brought us to a point where I firmly believe that millage support is critical at this state to maintain our current public safety operations. So the proposal at hand, as Maria read, is for a 2 mil levy for a period of 10 years. These are dedicated public safety funds that would assist us in not only offsetting our current operational costs, but to help facilitate necessary health and safety improvements to our facility. So if there's an affirmative vote of council tonight, that would simply move this ballot language onto the county, and that would give staff the green light to begin a several-month-long community education campaign that we would proceed with in a relatively comprehensive manner.
Okay, thanks. Questions, comments?
Yeah, I'd just like to, tonight's resolution is to approve, specifically to approve the ballot language. And that language is on page 177 of the packet. I don't know if we want to read that. That looks to me like the standard ballot language that I have seen on almost all of the, very similar, like it has, legally, we're required to have certain things in it, as I understand it, so,
And it was drafted by our city attorney.
right, it's the shall a new millage be levied, and so that goes, to the people with, this information in it. So I just wanted to clarify that that's what we're approving tonight, the ballot language.
Correct.
My only comment is, this is obviously something I'm going to support. Ashley and the chief knows that I was kind of hesitant about this, but after talking to the chief and Ashley and seeing what's going on, I support this. I still hope that we as a city still work hard to try to find additional revenue that comes into the city. Because as far as I'm concerned, every dollar that we save is a dollar for the taxpayers of this community. And, 100,000 here, 100,000 there doesn't sound like a lot, but, over a period of years, it means a lot. So I just hope that we continue, Ashley and the staff, to try to seek, I'm a big proponent of some type of beach parking. I hope that we can move that, myself, and in fact, I think Bob actually agrees that, maybe we should just bring somebody in and just kind of talk about it. Because I think it's a shame that we're not taking advantage of that. But that's the only thing I get to say. I absolutely support it. You do an unbelievable job. And I thank all of you for what you do.
Well, there's not a whole lot more to say from what everybody else has said here, but I've been saying this for quite a few years now. I think we should have it brought to the attention of the people here in Grand Haven that we definitely do need a millage for them. If you look outside around us, everybody has something going on for either fire or police or whatever. And we've been absorbing all this stuff for many years in our budget through our general fund. And the demand today for police and fire is just atrocious now. All the things that they need, it's escalating as far as dollar-wise. And as the taxpayers of Grand Haven, we can't afford to keep coming out of the general fund to keep paying for it. If we do, that means our roads won't get done, your sewers won't get fixed, the water won't be done because we have to take the money out of it to make sure that we are safe. So we want to be safe, and so I'm hoping that the people in Grand Haven will take a good look at this and say, yes, we need to do this so we can at least continue with making our city a great city to be and moving forward with it. So I'm definitely in support of this moving forward from now.
Thank you. And did you have more?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
yeah, I just wanted to, that was just a question and a statement. We are approving the, as I said, the language, and we're limited in terms of words that will go on the ballot, as well as, the attorney put that together. So I know that there's a lot of people that have questions about that, and I know that both chief and our city manager are looking for how they can further communicate behind it, where that money is going to go, all of that. That is to come. I think council feels very comfortable with that at this point. We understand the need and are moving forward with it. But I think when people look at the ballot language, they think it's not all going to, it's not going to explain what you all are going to explain to the public. But it's a start, what we have in the packet here, but I know there's going to be, I think we need to take the rest of, our citizens here through the need and help them understand that in the months before. Maria, can you tell me what the ballot language has to be in by what time? Somewhere around now for the November election?
For the
or-
November election, the deadline is August.
Oh, it's August, okay.
But
Okay.
that was part of our intention with
stay
approaching
ahead.
you so early, because this does not become a reality until the four of you were to vote to move this on to the county. So as soon as there would be a yes vote, we would hit the ground running to answer any and all questions that the community has.
Yeah. Okay. Good? Good.
Okay. Yeah, and I'm in support of this as well. I think that there have been a lot of questions, there will be more, and that it'll be very good to get the information rolled out, to get the public outreach there, get heavily involve our public safety people to help explain the case, and I'm sure that they'll be glad to show exactly what they have to deal with and why the need is there. They've been suffering in silence for a long time as far as their needs, and yeah, I think that there's probably not room in our budget to do the right job for public safety support without this. And I think that once the information is rolled out in a manner that's readily understandable to the people of the city, that just like my friend Kevin here, their eyes will be opened and they'll understand how important it is. So it's all very good, and I think that, I understand you've been waiting till now to start answering questions, but we have been starting to get the questions in, so you got work to do.
Absolutely.
So I guess I'm ready to vote. Please call the roll.
Lowe,
Yes.
McLaughlin,
Yes.
Fritz,
Yes.
Manetza.
Yes. All right, next item, please.
Item D, consideration by City Council of a resolution to amend the Jeep Fest special event approval to include the entire Chinook Pier parking lot from Thursday, May 15, 2025 through Monday, May 19, 2025, to allow for construction and cleanup of the Jeep Fest obstacle course. Parks and Recreation Board recommends approval. Administration recommends approval.
Okay, can I get a motion?
So moved?
Second?
Oh, go ahead.
Motion by Fritz, second by Lowe. Brian, do you want to explain the changes since last week?
Good evening, Council. Brian Giroux, Waterfront and Events Manager for the city. Jeep Fest is requesting a one-time exception to use the southwestern portion of the Chinook Pier parking lot for their obstacle course, while keeping the northeast section available for charter boat customers. The green space in the lot would be used for their obstacles. Jeep Fest has worked well with city administration, public works, and public safety to find an alternative plan. To ensure charter captains and their customers have enough dedicated parking, the city will be reserving a portion of the farmers market lot on Thursday, Friday, Sunday, and Monday of the festival, a portion of the marina lot on Saturday when the farmers market is in use by vendors and customers. Charters will have access to the northeastern part of Chinook Pier parking lot during the entire festival. Jeep Fest organizers are well known for their responsible event management, ensuring spaces are well cared for and properly cleaned up. The city sees this as a fair compromise that supports Jeep Fest, its charities, and the charter captains, who are an essential part of Chinook Pier and the community at large. This change applies to only 2025, with alternative venues being looked at for future Jeep Fests and their obstacle courses. Jason Rogers of Jeep Fest is here to assist me with any questions you may have.
All right, thank you. Questions, comments?
Yeah, the resolution, it says the entire Chinook Pier parking lot. Do we need to amend that to say the southwest portion?
We left the language as is because technically that entire parking lot will be off limits to the general public. So we still felt it was appropriate to keep the entire lot
Oh, I
within
see,
the request.
because part of it is going to be just reserved for the charter
Yeah.
captains within, okay. Very good.
I'm sorry I missed the meeting last week. You know, at the end of the day, you do an unbelievable job. It's too bad we had to put you through this. I surely feel for the charter captains, but at the end of the day, this is a festival that has grown, as you said, it has grown and grown, and it's really become a first-class operation. And I thank you for sticking with us, and we will hopefully get this approved tonight.
Oh, I'm sure it'll get approved.
Mike?
I just want to say thank you for the compromise and coming up with it and making it work. I had confidence that it would. Jeep Fest is absolutely a fantastic thing. I've attended it all the time, and I know a lot of my friends are part of it, so it's not that I'm not against it. I just wanted to make sure that everybody has a fair share down there, that's all. And then we got that green space, it's going to be tore up anyway, so it doesn't matter. I mean, I like to see if it was like a little more muddier in there, it would be really nice to see some mud. Because we're going to be building something there, and it's green space right there in the middle. That wasn't part of it to start out with, but I think we could be used very well, so I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you to Jeep Fest for putting on such a great festival. It really is. I enjoyed it 100%. I'm a car guy anyways. I don't have a Jeep, but I used to have a Blazer back in the day. I used to go out four-wheeling all the time with it, so. But anyways, it's so much fun to see all the people come together. It's nice. It's a family-oriented thing that's going on. It's a festival that we can actually put our arms around and say, yes, it's good. And the donation is going to a great cause. I tell you what, it's by far the best thing that's going on. I'm hoping for all the success for you to go forward with this, so thank you very much.
And I would echo that, thank you everyone for your patience, working through the issues, getting to a good conclusion, making things work. Appreciate that. I guess I'm a little curious about the grassy area, because we're going to be continuing to use that in the course of the summer. I think we've got merchants and makers coming in for an event there, and so I think some level of restoration may be required, some protection for it, so
Yep.
I assume that's been discussed and understood.
We've already started talking about how to protect some of that ground, some
Okay.
utilities that are
We're not-
there, and how to do a little bit of restoration afterwards.
Hopefully not a burden on anyone, it's just that we got to get through the summer with that same patch of grass before we do anything further with it. But anyway, it's a compromise. We'll make it work, and we'll have a successful festival, and thank you for bringing Jeep Fest to Grand Haven. So, that's all I got. Ready to vote? Let's call the roll.
Fritz?
Yes.
Lowe?
Yes.
McLaughlin?
Yes.
Manetza?
Yes. And that brings us to report by city council. Who would like to go first?
I'm good.
Karen?
I would just like to, again, to remind people about the Northwest Ottawa Recreation Authority and their fundraiser that is coming up in July. They are looking for individuals or businesses who would be interested in sponsoring their annual fundraiser in July. And so I will be getting some information in the packet next week, or in 2 weeks, on that if you're interested in that, or you can reach out to me. But just as a reminder, NORA serves over 4,000 children annually, and they offer inclusive programs in sports, recreation, and enrichment that foster health, teamwork, and personal growth. One of the things that I love is that they spend a lot on scholarships, which ensures that financial barriers do not hinder access for our kids in their community, and they empower those underserved youth, and that strengthens our entire community. So just a little plug for NORA. Again, their fundraiser is on July 15th at the Unicorn, and they're looking for anyone that's interested in sponsoring or just coming out. Just put that date on your calendar. Thank you.
Thanks, Karen.
Well, last weekend, I attended quite a few different things that was going on. You know, WAWL had their home and garden show. I got to go out there and visit with some people there for a while. And then also I went over to the Eagles for the fundraiser they did for Central Park Fountain, which I thought, considering all the things that were going on in this town, it was pretty well attended, I thought, because not only did you have all the home and garden show, but they also had the Chili Blues going on down at Snug Harbor, and it was like 3, 4, I think it was 4 different things going on at one time. So I just want to say thank you to the Eagles for putting on a fundraiser for that to help us out with the Central Park fountain and that. So it was very, very nice of them. So, and what about those Tigers, huh? Man.
Move on.
They're doing very well.
They're doing very well. Home run derby yesterday, so
Yep.
it was good. That's it.
That's it? Okay, thank you. Had a couple of things. On Thursday, I was invited to attend a stakeholder meeting of the MPPA. Went with a couple of guys from BLP, and we heard some interesting speakers at Frederick Meyer Garden. We heard Patrick Bolin from MPPA talk. He's the GM at MPPA, and a couple of other speakers talked about electric vehicles, electrification of transportation, and siting of data centers and capacity. I'm kind of nerdy, so I enjoyed all this stuff. So there's a lot of good detail there. But it was interesting to listen to that aspect of how municipal power agencies fit into this larger picture of electrification of our economy and all these features that are coming along, which are kind of essential for us for the future of energy in Michigan and in the country. I also attended a joint meeting of the DDA and the Planning Commission last Wednesday, in which they were discussing potentially amending the zoning ordinance in regard to short-term rental locations within the city. Right now, they are permitted by right downtown. They are permitted by special land use in certain residential districts, and they're not permitted at all in certain other districts. And the Centertown area was kind of left out of all that process, even though they're a commercial district. So the discussion now is whether or not new construction, new projects in Centertown might be allowed to have a short-term rental option when they develop, just as a way of attracting more investment. So that was a good discussion. There was a lot of questions back and forth, a lot of good meeting of the minds of all the members. And I thought it was a very healthy discussion. And I'm sure there's more that's going to come out of that in the near future, and I'm sure that we'll eventually be presented with a very comprehensive and thoughtful proposal from both bodies. And so, but those of you who saw Mr. Urquhart on the news, and we were interviewed on that, that's kind of what that was about. It was not a decision-making session, but it was a good way for everybody to understand the issues and why we're having the conversation. When we set out to control short-term rentals originally in 2007 and then again in 2017, it was because they were seen as a threat to our residential neighborhoods, but they were also seen as a commercial operation. And the question was, where do you cite them and under what circumstances? And so here's another question that wasn't answered at that time that we can deal with now. So I thought that was a really good meeting. And then Friday, we had the pleasure of cleaning up mini golf. We had our internal day of service. We had all hands on deck down there, spreading mulch and pulling weeds and tripping over each other and all the good stuff. So I very much enjoyed that. And next Monday, is it? We're going to be pulling up boards on the, not the boardwalk, but
Yes, we'll.
I'm taking away your report. Okay, I'll stop there. So turn it over to Ashley.
No, I didn't have any update, but yes, as of Monday, the 12th, we will begin to deconstruct the Riverview deck in a similar fashion as we did with the boardwalk, and that will be replaced and ready to go prior to June.
Okay, good. I did notice that we're making good progress on a retaining wall right down there by Snug. And they have demolished the overlook on 5 Mile Hill.
Yes, in the parking lot on the east end, everything's coming along nicely.
Yeah, progress.
Yes.
Okay, anything else?
Nope.
Okay.
There is one more thing.
Oh, how could I forget?
How could you forget?
What's that?
Tomorrow's Election Day.
Okay.
May 6th, Election Day. Polls are open from 7 a.m. until 8 p.m. And people can return their absentee ballots until 8 p.m. tomorrow at the city clerk's office.
All right, and you'll have a busy day. It was not one of our more complex elections, but they're all important. So, anyone out there, make sure you vote, make sure you're an engaged citizen. All right, brings us to our second call to the audience. At this time, members of the audience may address council on any item, whether on the agenda or not. Those addressing council are asked to provide their name and address and will be limited to 3 minutes of speaking time. Council will hear all comments for future consideration, will not have a response at this time. Those not physically present who would like to call in may dial 616-935-3203. Who would like to address council? Don't all rush up. All right, well, seeing no one rushing to the podium, we will close call to the audience and I will adjourn this meeting. Thank you for coming.